if you're a golfer with back pain, stick around because in this video, I'm going to explain 3 tests you can kind of look at to see where your back pain is coming from and 3 exercises to implement to get rid of your back pain. Welcome to the gym. So today we're going to go through kind of 3 exercises, 3 stretches that are going to help with your back pain. So if you're experiencing back pain from golf, these are things you can kind of look out for to see like where the back pain's originating from. A lot of the time when people have like back pain is they'll either take some pain medication and just kind of grind through and play, or they'll usually just rest it. So what that happens is when we rest the muscle, it gets deactivated, gets more sore, and the back just can't like deal with that load anymore. If that makes sense. So what we're going to do is the first thing that we're going to take a look at is your hip mobility. So if the hips are quite tight, it just kind of makes the back work a little more to get more range. So if the hips are really tight, we're trying to increase that range to take a lot less pressure off the back. So the first way you can kind of look at this is you want to see where the hip mobility is and how good it is. So there's a little test you can do. Or if you're just going to lay on the ground like this, back nice and flat, you're going to cross the leg over, just over top of the knee. And you're just going to let that knee just hang down there, okay? You can have someone measure this for you, but pretty much what I want to see is like a full like thumb touching the knee, touching the outside. So for me, my hips are pretty tight, but a lot of people can get that range. But if you're like up to here, you have pretty tight hips. So you're going to try that on both sides, okay? See the difference between like the left and the right side. Again, measuring each side just to see if there's a difference between those sides. So if the hips are not that tight, then you can move on to the next one. But if they are really tight, then you want to try and get the muscles of the hip to strengthen and to move. So this is an exercise I use with a lot of the golfers that I see to kind of loosen up the hips, but also to get the muscles to work as well. So we're going to do what's called hip CARS. So CARS stands for Controlled Articulate Rotation of the Hip. Okay? So all you're going to do is you're going to get in a cat-cow position, which is hands over the shoulders, knees over the hips. And all I want you to do while maintaining like a good posture, like we're not leaning towards each side, is we're going to bring the leg up to the side, much as you can. Feel that kind of tension in the hip, and then rotate all the way back up, and then all the way back down. And you're going to reverse that. So you go knee back, maintain that tension, go all the way out to the outside, and then go back down. What I want you to look out for is a lot of people, when they do this exercise, is they will lean to the side to get that range, right? That makes it super, super easy to do. So I just want you to get that like chest over top of the mat. I don't want like lean to that side. Just keep the weight on both knees. And then to do that to the outside, rotate back up and then back down. You're going to feel this for sure in the hips if you're doing this right. They're going to burn quite a bit. So you want to do about 3 sets of 3 reps per leg just to really work the hips. And you can also retest afterwards, right? So from the side, it looks like this. Out to here, rotate up, and then back down, and then reverse that. Out to the side, and then back down. So that's for the hips. The next one we're going to take a look at is for the core. So obviously the core is a huge part of the back, kind of helps maintain its posture. And if the core is not activated or strong, guess what takes the majority of the load and the work is the back, right? So what you can do is you can grab about a 10-pound kettlebell. You can go heavier if you want. But all I want you to do is grab the kettlebell up like this, have a good posture, and just bring it out to the front of you. And just hold that for about 10 seconds. If right off the bat, you're getting intense back pain, that might have to do with a core activation problem and a strength problem. So retry the exercise and see if you can actually get the core to engage. Now, obviously, it's very tough to like engage the core, but imagine like someone's like punching the stomach and you're trying to like activate the core, expand the core out. We're not trying to hide the core at all. We're trying to just create like stability. So you can retry the test again. So squeezing that core, going all the way up, go back down. And if the back pain went away, you have a core activation issue. So, and a core strength issue. So to be able to fix that, I like to do an exercise called the Pallof press. The reason why I like to do this one is because you can kind of see the difference between your left and your right side of your core. So just at the outside of the core right here. If I was to get someone to go do a plank for a minute, it'd be really tough for you and anyone else to see which side is actually compensating, right? And as golfers, we're always one-sided because we're swinging to that one way all the time, right? So we want to try and like strengthen both sides equally. So for this one, you're going to have a band just around a base of support, just like this. You're going to grab the band, have the hands over like this. We're going to go out, create a little bit of tension. We're going to try and activate the core beforehand and then push the band out and then come right back in. You're trying to activate the core to prevent the band from taking you this way. Okay? So we're going to go out and then back in. Super, super stable, super controlled. Doing about like 6 to 8 reps on that side. And then we're also going to switch and go to the other direction, right? To get both sides. Try to match the distance between each side with the foot, and then do the exact same thing on the other side. Perfect. 3 sets of 8. You can make that more difficult at a gym with like a cable machine and increasing the weight that way, or grabbing like a heavier band. Okay, so that's for the core. The next thing we're going to look at is the glutes. The glute strength is a big one that I see a lot. A lot of people actually don't know how to activate the glutes, and it's like the biggest muscle to help support the back on any type of movement, being either like picking something up off the ground, bending over to grab a tee, to place a tee, right? Marking the ball, like we hinge a lot, and people just don't know how to activate that. So the first thing you want to try and figure out is, can I actually activate and feel my muscles of my glutes work? So to see that, we like to start nice and easy. Again, we can progress this as we go, but nice and easy with just a classic glute bridge. So all you're gonna do, I'll go from the side here. All you're gonna do is you're gonna have the hands barely touching the heels. That's for the placement there. And then all you're gonna do is just push the hips up to the sky and then back down. Okay? Driving the hips. And all I'm trying to do is just squeeze my glutes, just to see if I can feel the muscle activate. Okay? If that creates back pain off the bat, try to implement the core activation that we just did with the Pallof press. So squeezing that core and then try to push the hips up. That will just support the back more, so we're not gonna get too much of an arch and a load there. Because a lot of the times when people have back pain, is the back will actually overwork. So it's gonna try to help with every movement that you do. So you wanna try to train it to get other muscles to be like helping it with movement. Because right now it's just by itself. It's getting sore. So you wanna try and get the glutes to activate, but also bring the core in to kind of help it as well. So you're doing an exercise and you're like, it's way, way too easy. You can make it a lot more difficult. You can either go into a single leg glute bridge, or we're gonna do what's called a hip hinge movement. Really tough movement to kind of get down, but it's pretty much a glute bridge, but you're standing. Okay, so we're gonna you can grab a dumbbell like this. You're gonna place it down here. You're gonna have it just in between the feet, nice and close to the body. You're gonna have a little bit of a knee bend, and all I want you to do is just push the hips backwards to hinge forward. Okay, my back's pretty straight. I'm gonna grab that weight, and then to get up, I'm gonna just push my hips forward and then come right back down. Okay, a lot of times people will either bend the knees too much and go here, and if I bend the knees like this, I actually can't get my hips to work. I have to pull with my back first instead of pushing my hips forward. Okay, so why I'm hinging so far forward is I want the glutes to be exposed so they're easier to activate as I come up. Okay, that's going to be the next kind of exercise to work on. Again, with these exercises, we want to try and like build strength to help the back. So you want to push that weight and that sensation so the muscles get very, very tired. So if I was to just grab this 20 pounds and I was like, I could do like 100 of these with no pain, increase that weight. Make it really, really tough. You want to make sure you're between like 6 to 8 reps, 3 sets. And after that, you're like, whoa, I can feel my glutes work. So those are the 3 things to kind of look at and the exercises. And I'll see you next time.